Narkomanska igrica. Ko je sad Marijela, brate? Koji kurac, šta se dešava ovdje? Da idemo. A, evo sam ja.
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming.
Znači, već sam umro, brate. Nije ni prošlo 10 minuta, ja sam umro već. I to sad for real.
For just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control.
Ja sam Sane. Sane, onaj muđin. Kerić.
It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this. So it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body.
Inače, teško mi je da pričam dok igram ovu igricu, zato što ovaj narator, brate, nestaje lik. Znači, priča 300 na sat. Tako, opet sam se vratio na početak, what the fuck? Šta moram sve ponovo dorodim? What the fuck? A, znači, u svakom slučaju...
Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
Ja mislim da moramo da ga pratimo skroz sve što nam on kaže, jer će ovako se ponavlja, ali verovatno imaju neki secret endingsi, brate. Možda kao trebam da uradim sve, znači svaki put da uradim nešto kontra da bi otključio taj secret ending. A znaš koliko me mrzi da replayujem sve ovo, brate. Tako da pratit ćemo ga sve što nam kaže. Bukvalno sve. Boss's office. Prošli put smo otišli dole u ovaj podrum, ali sad ćemo da ga ispratimo gore, da ne bi morao da ponavljam sve živo jebate. What the fuck? Kako mi sviđa ovaj dizajn, brate. Kako je seksi ova soba jebate. What? Ovo je WC neki? Da, WC. I've got the feeling money's for stealing, but not yours, of course. Say that's a lovely purse. Dobro. Ovo neki očin pokušaj i freestyle. Lift. Mogu kliknuti. Mogu. Neću još da idem, brat, hoću vidim šta se dešava u onoj drugoj sobi. Šta kaže, business strategy. Da, ako ljudi inače hoćete uspjeti u poslu, morate ubijete pandu i tek onda će da štancujete pare.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin number. 2845.
2845, 2845, 2845, 2845. 2845, 2845. Gdje je bre? 2845. 2845. Zaboravit ću, brate, ako ne govorim ovako. Aha, ovdje. 2845. Nice. Amazing. Da je vodi u garažu neku. Jebote, šta je ovo? Trebali bi da ga pratimo šta god nam on kaže. Jer sad ako ja budem otišao tamo, otključit ću neki deo priče, a ću ponovo morati sve da uradim iz početka. Nekako mi ovo previše delo je sketchy, brate. Razumeš, kao... Tamo je mind control facility, tamo bi trebali da mi kontrolišu mozak. A ovdje je kao baš je napisao neko escape da bi ja otišao tamo i tamo će mi kontrolisati mozak. Tako da, uradit ćemo obrnutu psihologiju i ići ćemo mind control facility. Pićemo pravo. Nek mi jebo ako treba. Kliknut ćemo veliko bijelo dugme. Kontate, bijelo dugme. Jebote. Kako lepo rađen. Ovdje nas špionira FBI. Sve što radimo i sve što googlamo ovdje se prikazuje. Postoji jedan vanzemaljac koji to sve prati. Koji drka naš history na YouTube, na Google. Ok, kamera. Kuj jebot, kurac.
Each bore the number of an employee in the building. Stanley
What the fuck, evo, šta sam rekao?
the lives of so many
Prediktao sam.
individuals
Mogu padnem
reduced
ovdje?
to images
Možda mogu,
on
možda mogu.
screen,
Ne mogu.
and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Koji sam ja već bio? Sjeća neko 400... Ne znam, brate, 400... Ne znam. Što da vidimo, 100% ima neki easter egg, brate. Gledaj tamo ovaj što je nacrtao, ovaj 530, gledajte 530 sad. Ako se bude promijenilo ovo. 530, vidite što je nacrtao ovog smilija neko. Sigurno ima nešto, brate. Neka pornjava, brate. Fired, on je dobio otkaz. To sam ja verovatno, možda. A ne, nije, ono je 100 neki broj. Ne znam ništa, pićemo dalje. Aha, ponavljaju se neke slike. Okej.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time?
Šta je ovo?
Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Zip.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Ovo je actually ono IQ milion igrica, brate. Da, what the fuck? Ne, napišite mi često da li pratite generalno priču ili ne. Idemo dalje. Mind control status offline. Mogu kliknuti, a ne mogu. Ne može se kliknuti. Ne može ništa se kliknuti. Aha, moram kliknuti ovo, jel? Petica. Ne radi ništa. Mind control sidle awaiting input.
He knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Ćemo on ili off. Mogu da kliknem System of Power. Znači, mogu da isključim taj power ili da imam taj power. Ako isključim power, niko ne može ni nad kim da kontroliše, a ako uključim power, ili će ovaj dalje lik da nastavi da mene kontroliše, ili ću ja moći kontrolišiti ljude. Tako da... Ne znam šta da uradim, ljudi. Ja bih prvo radio off, za svog slučaj. Ajmo, off, let's go. Mrtav Stanley. Sam umro? Zamisli, klikneš off, brati, i strefite, ono, struja jebena. To je to, završio sam igricu. Ovo cijela igrica, brati. Ošli smo u Void.
He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone?
Umrli.
How had he been freed from the machine's grasp?
Ovo i dalje
What
pada.
other mysteries did this strange
Ne mogu da umrem ako nas ne sabra.
As sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him.
Ne, mogu da idem.
For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking,
Aha, siš sam dole.
but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand,
Happiness, vidi.
but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do,
Hvala kurcu.
or how to feel.
Samo ga živim sam. I kako lepo, brat.
Will be his. And that was all.
Wow, dude. Prelepo gledao, brat. Hoću da igram neku igricu da bi mogo da idem po ovim planinama. Ne mogu? Evo ga.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley
Was happy. To si ne. To si nać. O, brate, ne znam. Šta, what the fuck, ja sam prešao igricu sad. the fuck se dešava ovdje, brate?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
A možda moram nekada pratim skroz, a nekada...
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he
Da, ne
entered the
pratim,
door on
brat.
his left.
Interesting. Pa da, možda je fora u igri si da nalaziš ove kao secret ending ili šta već. Gdje ćemo, gore ili dole? Ajdemo gore. To si ne. Nice. O! Evo ga, stigli smo. Otišao sam na 470 ispred. What the fuck? Ja sam samo provozio sad, jel? Zašto se vratao? A? Čuo sam da je zaškripalo nešto. Čekaj, mogu ja sad kao da se vratim? Ne mogu da se vratim. Da li ovdje drugačije nešto? Da, ovdje je drugo, gledaj. Money in the morning, money in the evening, money for breakfast, money crisp. To nije bilo ranije, bilo nešto sa pursom. Ovdje nisam ništa provjeravao. Ne može ni ovdje ništa se uradi. Jebi ga, brate. Ne, pusti me. Možda sam trebao da idem na dole, brat. Ti kako je? Stidi koji je ugradio tamo... Eren jebeni, brate, ugradio kameru gore. Ovo polarni medved. A ne, ovo je planir.
His attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible
secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin number. Nije.
2845.
2845.
Stanley couldn't possibly have. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck.
Sheer luck.
He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Opet idemo u onu creepy sobu. Ali ne mogu da idem na gore, brat. Iako sam kliknuo sam gore, ono ide na dole, brat. Ali nije svetlilo gornje dugme, tako da svakako moramo dole da idemo. Loading. Jer bilo loading prošli put kad smo išli? Mislim da nije bilo. A moguće kao da ne bi gledali 50 puta, ono. Vidimo se.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Da se vratimo onda. Koga jebe? Moramo svakako da proverimo ovo. Samo da mi ne iskoči neko čudovište. Jebi ga sine, ovo je deo igrice. Idemo bre, gledamo smrt u oči. Ujebote. Če se treba panem tu? A vidite kako su dobro ovo radili, brate. Baš onako creepy izgleda. Ništa, idemo, brate. Zoooo! O? Ja živ, znaš? Aha, ovo će me spješti. Ćao! Vidimo se. Almighty push!
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
What? Brate, što me troluje ovo dvoje? Kojim kurac? The Stanley Parable.
And And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Da li mogu ovdje negdje, brate, otključam neki secret nešto? Ne mogu da nam zid ovdje. Ja mislim da je ovo cijela soba normalna, samo je sve mračno, ne može ništa se vidi. Vidi kako je lepo tamo, brate. Oh my god, koliko je lepo, brate. Baš se lepo rade. Making life the same. A slike se ponavlja. Brate, sakrim se ovdje. Uđem još malo unutra, ne može mi niko ništa. Šta je ovdje? A, ovo je kao office layout. Čekaj, znači ako se ja spawnem ovdje, nisam siguran da spawnem. Da, vjerojatno se spawnem tu. Znači ja uvijek idem pravo. Da, tamo ima ono što sam drkao. Idem pravo, desno. I te su ona vrata što mi kažu levo, desno. Ovdje, aha. Znači ništa ne možemo ovdje naći. The two doors. They said that the two open doors was the very first concrete piece of the Stanley Parable's design. Once this room was created, the rest of the game emerged as an extension of it, an exploration of the contradiction this room posed. The office. 01023. Možda ćemo imati choice da uđemo u bilo koji od toga. Opet imamo choice-ove jebote. Idemo levo ili desno. Ajmo levo koga jebe. The office, dobro. Što je ovo? Maintenance room. 431, 436. 431, 436. Warzone. Early in development, we designed an ending where Stanley would end up on a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. We realized shortly after starting to build it that it was too far. It was far too jokey and on the nose for the tone of the game. Plus, some people interpreted it as making fun of people who like shooters, which was not our intentions. Alien base awesome. Lol, brate. Znači, uglavnom za ljudi koji ne zna engleski, napravili su ranije da može, da neki ending da može Stanley da završi na battlefieldu, da se bori protiv vanzemaljaca i da se tuče protiv narotora ovog, što nas jebe sve vreme. A to su ovo čoje. Ovo bomba jebote. The apartment timer. 5, 4, 3, 2. Pa pikujem fon. Šta kaže? In a previous version of the choice leading to the apartment ending, a timer would give you 15 seconds to pick up the phone. Not picking up the phone would lead to a different ending. A čekaj, sad je ovo kao... Ovo je druga verzija igrice, brate. Dobro, brate, boli me kurac, hoću da... Šta je ovo? The game is now paused. Begin the game again, resume the game, options return to menu. Aha, to je ovaj pause screen. Brate, jel mogu ja... da uradim bilo šta jebote? Ovdje mi samo pokazuje... Exit. Hvala kurcu jebote.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Dobro, sam pitao.
Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. Way to win this game.
Dobri.
As long as you move forward, you'll be
Executive bedroom. Because the boss knows that what the boss says goes if the boss suffered losses, then that's what the boss chose. Ne znam da li da probam ponovno, brate, sa lifta. Ali ovog puta da idemo na dole. Ajde probamo da idemo dole. Kad smo već ovdje. Dole. To je to. Let's go. Sad ako me vrati tamo u podrum gdje sam bio, bilo bi retardirano. Ponova muzika, brate. Vajbujemo. Nek neku četo naprije remix ove besme. kad mogu da skačem. A čekaj, brate, nije mi jasno. U kontrolama piše da mogu da skačem. Ja do sad nijednom nisam mogao skočiti. What the fuck? Otvaraj. Dobro. Sve isti kurac. Dobro, znači poenta lifta je bukvalno samo da... Da vidim da se menja ovo, brate. Because the boss knows. Nije, isto je. Nemam pojma, brić.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor, he lay paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour. But when at last he began to move about and survey the situation, he found a keypad behind the boss's desk.
Jeboti keypad, doći mi da li ima nešto drugo, brat. Kako rekao? Čekaj, sam slučajno kliknuo. 2, 8, 4, 5, tako?
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Ne znam ni gdje više da idem, brate, šta smo sve odradili. Možda nemam pojma, brate. Stanley Parable. Oh my god, mozak mi boli da ove igrice, majke mi. E sad ovdje, mi smo kliknuli off, ali ja ću sada vidim, brate, kad kliknem on, šta će se desiti. Probajte pogledati šta će se desiti, napišite u komentarima pre nego što vidite šta će se desiti. Tako da moj guess je, brate, da će svakako ponovo se ugasi sve i da će nas pobediti ovaj narator nekako. Nemam pojma kako, ali jebi ga. Idemo on.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you?
Fuck.
After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Shit.
Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave.
Let it go.
If my story off track, you're going to have to do much better.
Let it go.
I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say
10, 9,
2 minutes.
2 minuta.
Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's
Fuck.
your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy.
100% ima neka fora. Ček, šta je ovo? 10 i... Ble.
What precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about
10 i neki kurac opet.
where we're going. What all this means.
Ma ovdje ima milion stvari s klikći. Probat ću nešto kliknem, brate, možda uspijem.
You'd like to know where your coworkers are.
Incorrect. A, moram kliknem jedan. Moram da nađem jedan. Aha, pokazuje mi ovi, dobro. Ovo je 10. Koliko imam još? Fuck. Gdje kids? Jel na ovo misle? Jel na ovo misle? Nije, oni hoće plavi kids. Jel ovo plavi kids? Ovo je ljubičast. Plavi kids. Ovo je 10-ka, brate. Brate, ne postoji plavi kids. Što kaže? Button hint, activate button hint light blue. A da prvo kliknemo ovo 10-ku, brate. Incorrect. 4. Žuta. 4?
My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what?
What?
I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not?
Aha, ovo je random nešto. Incorrect. What the fuck ja trebam da uradim, brad? You have 1 attempt remaining.
Or did you just assume when you saw that timer?
A nije mi jasno gdje je 4, vedete. Pa jedino ovo, šta? Trojka.
Screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones.
Da, ne postoji. This door.
Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? One soul?
To je istina.
Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
Jebote, Joker mi je nadator.
You're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You want to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first.
Goodbye employee 427. What the fuck? Vidim. Vidim, brate moj. Ljubičast. Može nešto ljubičasto kliknuti.
And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever up.
Ode se u kurac. Happily ever jebe mu mater. Jebe, znači to sam morao raditi. What the fuck, a ne znam šta se treba da uradim, brate. Bukvalno kaže, na primjer, klikni trojku, ljubičasto, ne postoji ljubičasta trojka. Ali ne veze, znači mrzim me bukvalno da igram dalje. Ne znam ni da li postoji, brate, rješenje za ovu igricu. Mislim, da li može se pređi ili ovo samo ono continuous loop. Čudna igrica, brate, skroz. Kao neki lavirint, brate. Znači imaš više ovi kao choice-ove i onda se ponovo vratiš na početak i sve se to vrti u krug. Vidjet ću na netu da li uopšte postoji ending, brate. Ako postoji, nastavit ćemo igram, ako ne, jebi ga, brate, probali smo, znači ja ne znam šta više mogu, brate, mislim, sigurno ima neka mesta koje nisam posjetio, šta već, ja sam zaboravio sve, tako da ono, jebi ga, ništa, hvala što ste gledali ovaj klip i vidimo se u sljedećem,